Hello, good morning. It's December 6th, 2014. My name is Red Feather Free. In today's video, I'm going to bring you the esoteric teachings of Jesus the Christ and what he was an archetypal symbol of, and the entire story of his birth, being born from a virgin, and his life were symbols, teaching ancient esoteric knowledge based in Hebrew Kabbalic mysticism and numerology, as exemplified best by the school and the teachings of Pythagoras. Now, to begin, I want to give you a bit about myself, who I am, where I come from, and how I've come to these discoveries. First of all, I was born on September the 4th of 1985 at 10:54 a.m. Now, if you take these numbers and use what's known as a system of gematria to work down to the base, you can take 0, 9, and 0, 4, the month and the day, and add that up to 13, and then you add 13, 1 plus 3 is 4, okay? And the next set of numbers is 19, the century I was born. That's 1 plus 9 is 10, 1 plus 0 is 1. So the first two numbers of my gematriatic name or title are 4 and 1. The last group that you add is 85, the year I was born. 8 plus 5 is 13. Again, we have 1 plus 3 is 4. So I have a palindrome of 4, 1, 4. Now, the time of my birth is also significant because it is also a sort of a palindrome in and of itself, if you will, but not a full 3-digit palindrome, just a 2-digit palindrome with symbols which can be interchanged. The hour and the hour 10, the 10th hour, can be considered 1 plus 0 or 1, and 54, the minute, is 5 plus 4 is 9, and 9 is expressed as a reflection of 0 because it starts over, it's the naught, it's outside of the infinite set. 4 is the infinite set, and then 4 plus 4 is 8, that contains 36, or the square of the sun, some people like to say. It adds up to 666, but that's not all there is. You have to go to the 9, which represents the going back to the absolute, or the not, returning to the no-thingness. Now, I'm going to try to keep this video as straight and to the point as I can. I've made some notes here to keep myself kind of on track because this is a very broad subject, and I'm going to give you the best descriptions that I possibly can to analyze the esoteric knowledge that I'm bringing to you right now. And I'm using Cornelius Agrippa's The 3 Books of Occult Philosophy, translated by Donald Tyson, as a resource for consultation in some of this. For instance, we read of the number 4 and the scales thereof, chapter 7, and I believe book 2. We read, the Pythagoreans call the number 4 Tetractus, and prefer it above all the virtues of numbers, because it is the foundation and root of all numbers, whence also all foundations as well in artificial things as natural and divine are 4 square, as we shall show afterwards. It signifies solidity, which also is demonstrated by a 4 square figure. And then we read, the ancients did picture with 4 ears Jove, or Yahweh, Jehovah, Yod-He, Vav-He, which is a mixed up version of the name to keep people confused. I believe it should be Yod, Val, He, Yo, but it's another story, because the He and the Yo are interchangeable, just like the 0 and the 9. Okay, it says, whence the number 4 is the fountain and the head of divinity. And then here we read, the Pythagorean oath, which is expressed in these virtues, I with pure mind by the number 4 do swear, that's holy and the foundation of nature, eternal, parent of the mind. The Greek word for, meaning 4, is tetractus. So 4 is also apparent in alchemy and in the Platonic solids. The basic Platonic solid is a tetrahedron. It has 4 bases, 4 angles, and 12 planes. And we'll see these numbers popping up again very frequently, if you will, throughout this. Just to let you know, some of the esoteric teachings of what Christ's birth actually meant. See, Christ was said to be born of a virgin. This is a teaching telling you when in the zodiacal cycle that the man was born, when the energy is brought into the earth. And it references the Virgin, the Virgo, what we have as the ninth sign in the zodiac. It's 9 months after Christmas, or after the deepest, darkest part of the abyss. And see, that's the reason why people born at this time have really complex personalities. They come from the nothingness and the earth. They are Adam Kadmon, truly. I am Adam Kadmon. We read that Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn are earth signs, grateful, acceptable, eloquent, devout, and religious, because they are the houses of Venus, Mercury, and Saturn. And Hamael, or Raphael, also Mercury, Hermes, and Thoth, are symbolized by the number 4 as well, the fourth sign. In the Orphic scale, the number 1 signifies Athena, and she's symbolized by an owl. I don't know if you can see the owl. It's my owl. And the number 4 is symbolized by Thoth, who is typically depicted as having an ibis head, as he is right here, the ibis-headed bird. And this is Mercury in the Orphic scale, but Mercury is also symbolized by an ibis. So Mercury and Hermes are Thoth, or are Raphael, Hamaliel. And Hamaliel is the Hebrew name for the sign of the zodiac, the Virgo, the Virgin, is Hamaliel. The number 4 corresponds to Raphael, and the cherubic, or the angelic scale, which is analogous to Mercury, Hermes, or Thoth. Christ was not born at Christmas. He was conceived over Christmas time, during the death in the depths of hell, as when his soul was conceived in the absolute chaos of nothingness, when there's 3 days where the sun doesn't move. You see, the ancients understood the astrotheological basis of all this, but they also understood the fundamental Hermetic axiom, as above, so below, so well expressed by the image of Baphomet, the classic image that was depicted by Eliphas Levi. Here we have an image of Baphomet. This was taken from Eliphas Levi's Dogma and Rituals in the History of Magic, Paris, 1855, 86. Solve Glagula. This is a supreme symbol, as above, so below. The unity of opposites. That's what we're going to continue to get into, and that's what Christ was. Christ was an archetypal representation of the unity of opposites, Adam Kadmon, as perfectly exemplified on this earth. And he wasn't the only one. The energy has been reborn in this plane, in this time, in this place. It's been repeated. I go on. Christ, the esoteric teaching tells us, was born of a virgin. In the number 9, also you can see the Star Observers video on the number 9, where they eloquently explain how 9 is equivalent to the number 0, or the not, the no-thingness. And in the Arcane Teachings, published 1909, it teaches us that the monad of the Pythagoreans, also known as the number 1, is actually just a symbol for the not, or the 0, because the absolute, the not, the 0, represents the absolute, or God, if you will, the thing that is outside and beyond definition, beyond law. And as I understand it, thanks to Aleister Crowley in the Book of the Law, it is love. Love is the law. That is the truth. It is beyond parameters. It is undefinable. Agape, unconditional. Something that is unconditional has no parameters. Therefore, it is undefined. What happens when you divide by 0? It's undefined. Numbers, they teach you things. So the number 4 represents the leader, or a demiurge. Actually, in Hebrew, the 4th letter is Daleth, and it's the door. And this door is what the Absolute expresses itself through, also known as the cosmos, or infinity, because, like the Pythagoreans understood in the Tetractys, the number 4 contains within it the infinite set, all 10 numbers. Because if you do the Pythagorean Tetractys of addition, 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4, it equals the number 10. If you're wondering what tea I'm having today, I'm having kava, stress relief, eases tension and promotes relaxation. 100% natural herbal supplement. And my tea bags say, dignity and tranquility last forever. And may the peace of inner self bring us joy. Bless that message, right? So, in C.J. Bleeker's book, Hathor and Thoth, we are actually told about the mysteries of Kemet, or ancient Egypt. And Thoth was a deity who was celebrated. As I've said, he's equivalent with Mercury, the Greek Hermes, Roman Mercury, Jesus Christ, the angel Raphael, Melchizedek. You can go on and on and on with these correlations, Quetzalcoatl. But we find out that Thoth was celebrated in what equates to our month of September, which is the house of Virgo, the sign of the Virgin. And we learn that on the 4th day of that month, the Egyptians celebrated what was equivalent to his birthday, or his genius day. And genius is another word for jinn, which is another word for devil or demon, or in Greek it was daimon, or guide. And Socrates often swore by his daimon, which he referred to as the dog. And another way to look at that is our intuition. In Greek mythology, there was a dog named Lilops, and Lilops was gifted by Zeus with the ability to never lose her prey. She always caught what she went after. And this is an allegory for human intuition. So when Socrates swore by the dog, he was swearing to his intuition, to his logos, to his mind, to the cosmic force that was the expression of creation. It's not the absolute that he was swearing by. He was swearing actually by the force, the spiral force that we see, phi. And I'll get into this further. So, in order to further expound upon how Jesus was actually born on September the 4th, of a virgin, you see, that's what it means by he was born of a virgin. Doesn't mean that his mother had never had sexual relations with a man. No, it means he was born in a certain time of year. And this is given to us further as evidenced by the story of the 3 Chaldean wise men. The Chaldean wise men were astronomers and astrologers who carried the ancient knowledge of the Babylonian and the Sumerian and the Egyptians with them, and they saw, based off the stars in the heavens and the alignments, the star chart basically, where the heavens, or where the planets were, and the precession of the equinoxes, the house of the zodiac. They knew that a very powerful magi, or magus, was going to be born, and they had prophecy telling them where it was going to happen. So when they saw the signs, they started to travel, and the main sign that they saw letting them know when to go was the rising of the star Sirius, the dog star. And Sirius was gone for 72 full days, I believe, where it wasn't visible in that part of the world out of the year. And when it returned from the 73rd day, on the 73rd day, that actually signaled what would become the return of the rainy season and the floods of the Nile. So it brought life back to the Nile region after the intense heat of the fire energy of Leo. So you go from fire in Leo to earth in Virgo, and being born right on the cusp of Leo and Virgo combines the fire and the earth energy. It combines, it unites the above with the below. The opposites are in one, the light with the dark, the active with the still. the attractive with the repulsive. It forms a cohesive bond. This is why the man, Jesus, understood himself in the archetypal sense, and all this knowledge in its true understanding and its true basis in nature, and he was able to use this. But with knowledge comes power, and the powers that were controlling people at the time, similar to the ones controlling people now, do not wish for knowledge to be shared or disseminated. However, humanity, the great world spirit, if you will, has managed to fight for the last 2,000 plus years to get to a point where we have relative freedom enough to share knowledge, so that we can get to the point where we have absolute freedom, true freedom, which is what my purpose and my mission and intent with all my work is to give humanity the keys to their freedom, our own salvation. My name, as I've expressed, breaks down into the palindrome of 414, which can be viewed as a Taurus field, an energy of the Taurus field, because if you view the number 1 as the naught, as the 0, as the singularity of the black hole, which it doesn't stop there, it just comes out the other side and is emitted in the form of gamma radiation. You know, a tree doesn't stop at the level of the ground, it has roots underneath it as well, as above, so below. That's what the number 414 represents. You can see my terrible drawing of the Taurus field there, but a Taurus is like a donut, okay? And that's what the shape of the universe actually is. The tetrahedron is considered the basic shape, but it's actually a symbol, an approximation of the Taurus, because the ancients didn't really have a way, I believe, of expressing the Taurus in a way that was manageable. And honestly, neither do we, because modern scientists and modern mathematicians and modelers, physicists, still rely upon what would be called archaic or antiquated paradigms. They're still living in Newtonian general relativity, or Newtonian physics, instead of integrating the theory of general relativity. And they say that quantum mechanics and general relativity don't match up, but they do perfectly if you understand the universe as a torus field. And if you use the model of the torus as the universe is expanding, and eventually it will come to a point where it looks like it's contracting again, and it'll just begin expanding once again. It is truly an eternal thing. It had no beginning and no end. It is an Ouroboros that's eating its own tail, spiraling forever and ever, forever back and forever forward, realizing that there is only now, hence the holographic universe theory. So, if we add up the Fibonacci sequence, which approximates 5, 1 plus 2 plus 3, or 1 plus 2 is 3, 3 plus 2 is 5, 5 plus 3 is 8, 8 plus 5 is 13, 13 plus 8 is 21, 21 plus 13 is 34, 34 plus 21 is 55, 89 plus 55 is 144. Now these are the first 12 numbers of the Fibonacci sequence, beginning with 0. So 0 plus 1 is 1, 1 plus 2 is 3. So the 12 numbers right there. And what is 12 squared other than 144? Now, some other very interesting coincidences, beginning with 0, going to 5. The fifth number, the fifth Fibonacci number is 5, and also the 10th Fibonacci number is 55. And I guarantee you that will repeat as you continue to go up. Very interesting how that works. The fourth is 4 and 3. And then 9 here is 34. So 4 and 3 and 7 is 7, the 7 days of the week. 9 showing you 7 as well in another way. 9 is everywhere. If you bisect the angles of a circle, all of it adds up to 9. 360 degrees, 3 plus 6 is 9. 180, 1 plus 8 is 9. It goes on and on and on. Again, that's from Star Observer's video on it. Now, I understand that phi and pi approximate exactly the same thing, which is the shape of the universe, which can be expressed by a Mobius strip or a Mobius band. And if you're not familiar what that is, I'll show you. A Mobius strip or a Mobius band is this. It's this thing right here. This has only one surface, so it's defined. It only has one side if you trace it, yet it is infinite, so it's a paradox. This breaks the mold of what was known as Euclidean geometry's hold on science for a very, very long time. What makes this important is because it represents balance between the opposing forces, or a unity of opposites, because it has what's known as a Euler coefficient of 0, meaning that it has no tension. It's perfectly in balance between the above and the below. Hence, the second law of thermodynamics, entropy is not violated with this model of the cosmos, this grand unified theory that I'm presenting to you right now. This is also the same shape or thing that's represented as the spiral geometry, the flower of life, sacred geometry, and it's encoded in the pyramids at Giza and almost all the buildings in construction on Earth that have been built over the last, 50,000 years. We're taught in this book, Cornelius Agrippa's 3 books on occult philosophy, that the Pythagoreans formed a tetractys based on multiplication of odd and even numbers. They united in unity, the sum of which was 27. The sum of which was 27. This added with the tetractys of addition symbolized the musical, geometric, and arithmetic ratios upon which the universe is based. See Plato's Timaeus. Now if you add the triangle 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 8 plus 9 is 27. Now you add the 10 from the addition tetractys to that, and you get 37, which is 1 more than the square of the sun, 666. But you know why it's 1 more than 36? Is because it includes the naught, the 0. So if you include the number 0 plus 1 plus 2, you actually have 37 numbers. The unity corresponds to the point. A prime number corresponds to a line, a square corresponds to a surface, and a cube corresponds to a solid. This is the knowledge encoded in the Bible and in all of architecture and esoteric philosophy and occult philosophy that has been hidden and obfuscated and twisted and kept from people for eons and eons and eons. Because when you have this knowledge and you have the ability to recognize that all is eternal, you can transcend the dogmatic control structures of the people who do have it and have tried to